Hello, hi everyone.
I can hear you, Mackie.
Hello.
All right. So I think, before we get started, I think we're going to do the now standard cleansing of all note takers, probably including mine. And Ganesh is very busy because he's got a couple of note takers going, and I don't even, who's Ganesh?
Good question.
So, David, you may have the keys to this meeting. I don't know if I do.
I am
So
not.
maybe I can claim host. Do I claim
Yeah, I'm
host?
not currently host.
All
One
right.
of
Well,
us.
I want Drummond to be host. He's more important than I am. All
He's
right.
welcome to
I don't
be.
have the host key. There you go. Drummond always has the host key. Where to find it?
I'm not sure I have the host key. Let's see what it says up here. Uh, who's
Because
currently
Ganesh
host?
is a very busy guy. I don't even know who Ganesh is, but he's taking notes in every meeting that exists.
Yeah, if you go into your profile, you should be able to see the host key.
Which profile are you talking about?
Let me get you the link.
I mean, the big cheese is here, so she should be the host.
Yes. There you go.
Actually, I don't know how I have. There is a claim host option, but do not know who's.
You have to go into, David will give you the link so everybody knows where to go.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah,
If I do it for you, then you won't learn how to do it.
Yes.
Oh, that's a leader talking, I have to say.
Give a man a fish and right.
Yeah, I just put a link to the LF documentation about finding your host key in the Zoom chat. So if that doesn't answer your question, let me know.
That's even better. A link to the documentation.
Right. But
Okay.
Drummond would only care if it was a link to the glossary. Yeah.
Well,
All right.
we'll have to get the
okay.
we'll have to get that in the
So the
glossary.
question is do we have access to the Zoom? I have my own personal Zoom, but do we have access to the Linux Foundation Zoom?
You should. I'm going in right now to I'm confirming who is set as a host on this meeting. Just one second. I'm
That
going
would
in.
Right.
that would be great.
Okay, good.
I do.
Hopefully, if it's me, then I'm not, that's my issue.
I'm trying to now remember where my LF.
But I was hoping that I kind of shed that to someone else. But it could be Carly. Could be Carly.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Carly's
Yeah,
not here.
Carly has she might be Carly and
She-
Michelle. Okay, it looks like they're the only ones that were set in this meeting to have the host key.
Okay, good. So can you gain access to that?
I think I'm not set as host either. Let me try.
Because
And
Ganesh, I mean, he's going to take over the world.
Drummond, can you try that code?
I will try it. See
moving
if it
forward,
works.
I'm going to update the meeting invite so both of you,
Yeah, we need
Drummond
to
and
have at
Scott, are
least, yeah,
set.
that'd be
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I'm going in right now and
That'd be great.
updating the meeting.
Did you grab it?
I did, and I'm trying to oh, it worked. I'm the
All right.
host.
Okay, great. And going forward,
right.
you'll both be set as hosts going
Oh,
forward.
perfect.
All right.
Excellent. Yes.
Sorry, Ganesh, you're gonna get killed. All right.
There we
You're gonna
go.
kill off his note taker. I get it puzzles me, but I don't even know how. I guess it's how note takers work, but how could they even get access to this meeting? I thought you had to go through the Linux Foundation.
It's a public meeting, right?
Protocols. Huh?
Yeah, maybe that's it. It's a public meeting.
Oh.
So there's a
So
gentleman.
someone's like putting in all public meetings and just kind of does a grab. Okay. Looks like everybody. So Mackie, you're welcome to be here. Thank you for coming. But if we have any voting types of things, I will ask you to sit to not put a vote in, please.
Abstain.
Yeah, that was
That's it.
before. Thank you. I always need a little help from the boss. So. Okay, so we're getting some critical mass.
I need to go find
Um,
my dog, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, well, yeah, we need another vote. That's it. So bring him in. So I did speak to Carla today, who shared that she is likely to come in on the second half of the meeting. And I said, well, we'll probably talk about something that I think would affect your involvement, but she can, view the recording of this.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because when I spotted that we had our meeting on August 20th, I thought, what are the chances that we're even going to get half the board members or the
And
steering
we
committee
are.
members?
I think that, yeah, we've got more than half.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think Wenjing is coming in from his like vacation, so he gets
Oh, wow.
extra credit points. Yeah.
Okay. All
Thank
right,
you.
so
Thank you.
I'll
Yeah, I'll take that.
There you go. We'll give you those points. Double your
okay,
points for
so
today.
Drummond, you have, thank you, created a steering committee agenda. And there we go.
It's right
There we
there.
have that. So
Right there.
hopefully everyone has seen that and has also looked at some of the
Make it a little
links
bit
that we
bigger.
had in preparation.
There we go. Yes. All right. Should we dive in to our first item, which seems to want to persist, and I must say, I think I'm the one who has fallen down now because I think there is a report template, and that Wenjing, you worked to help create, or you and Scott and Daniela, some combination of you. But now the challenge is filling it out, and I think Scott, I got
Yeah,
volunteered for that. Go
I
ahead.
have an update as well that may
Perfect.
help this. So in the last the LDT tech meeting, it was also suggested like, yeah, we have a template. We could work on that. Maybe, it would take a little bit of time because we were trying to at least collect some data to for that template. But the tech was also suggesting that, hey, maybe for the first time we could simply say, here's how we did it, and submit whatever that as the first version of this report, and maybe that will give us time to sort of finish that template, etc., for longer term with more time to do it. So just want to give that feedback as well, and I thought we should probably just take that offer and submit. What I was thinking is like we have all member meetings, which all our groups report some kind of progress, and we may be able to use that as at least our initial submission, and that way it gives us more time to look at on long term how we want to do it.
All right. Here's how I suggest we close on this, because again, I'm the one who dropped the ball early on. If it's a matter of getting together, and does it matter what the format is? Can I put together a Google Doc or a wiki page, or what? Is it just something that we can then submit and say, here's our?
You are overthinking it. Whatever
Okay.
way we simplify is, you are still overthinking it. I think this is
Okay.
a trivial thing to do, but I don't want to like overtake the steering committee. I think we are overthinking it. Just
Okay.
what do
So
we
we
think
do
it should
have
be? I
the
think that would be good.
operational plan, obviously, that doesn't fit into the format, well, we could just do that, but that's not going to fit, I don't think.
Well, so if what we
Why
need
it
is just
wouldn't
basically,
fit?
oh, I see.
I just understand what is not fitting. What is the not fitting? They're saying
I don't know what the requirement is. If
there's
we
no
could use the
requirement other than
operational
say
plan, that would be good.
the template they're asking for a report, and the report, the newest suggestion is anything you do today or in the past. Like what
Yeah.
I don't know what is the issue here.
In
Right,
that case,
so-
I can short circuit this. If it's a matter of, Scott, if you have the operational plan and a link to that, I'm
Yeah.
happy to just take that, add a little information about, sort of current things going on and submit it, and then we'll get their feedback about what
The
they need.
operational plan is not a report, though. A report is
Right.
for the past 12 months, right?
Right.
So
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
but
say.
it was
all member
well, it
meeting
was a
slide
report of
deck
last
would be a
year.
report.
Yeah, it does include a report of activities that we have been doing and what we're planning for this year. So I don't know, maybe I'll make it available to you
Yeah.
in the chat here, and we'll see what we could pull out.
Yeah.
And let me just clarify, this is supposed to be a report on 2024 or last 12 months?
They are annual reports and they are quarterly reports. So the
I
annual
see.
report will be the last 12 months, and we are, I don't know, quite late. So I like I seems too obvious to me, but maybe I'm wrong, that a link to the last all hands meeting would be a good point to start.
Okay. I see. I got it. A link to,
It will
okay,
be
got it.
one line. I can do it in 10 seconds. Then you have a report. It's quite detailed, actually, right?
I see.
Good
Yeah, got it.
quality report. And then maybe we could, I don't know, I will hear, Danielle or others' suggestion, but then maybe we could have then, another years of time to look at, hey, exactly how you want. But still overthinking it, because most of people simply type in a few paragraphs. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So do we also need to prepare a quarterly report for the last quarter?
Correct. I think we are technically also late on those,
Right.
but again, I would say provider input, even if very simple input, is
Yep.
better than simply be quiet and not saying
Got it.
anything. That's my personal feeling.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and
So-
you can reference like the annual report was just done on this date, right,
Exactly.
David? That I've seen that happen before.
You
Got it.
have.
All
And
right.
if it's
So
helpful for some examples, I can put some links in the chat to some other people's reports if you just are curious to see what other groups have done, what other
Yeah,
projects have done.
I think that would be helpful. Let me actually,
I'll find some.
the best place to put those links, I'm going to share this right now because this is, anyone can comment, would actually be here in this doc. So they're right. So we don't lose them in the chat. So I'm going to go in the chat and put in, agenda doc.
Right. So I
you
put
go.
in the chat the organizational business.
Okay, project updates. Oh, I see, got it. All right, I'm gonna start copying this into the, all right.
And I put a link in where you can find examples of both the annual reports that have been submitted to the TAC as well as the quarterly reports. So feel free they're all public, so feel free to take a look at any of them if you want some example.
Got it.
Yeah, once we get some structure and get it approved, then it should be easy enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's I think it's to be brave enough to take the first step. It will be good.
Yep. All right. So I've just finished a very large deliverable, so I will get that out, and I will get that out in the next, within the next few business days. It might take me into next week because this week is getting perilously close to my 50th high school reunion on Saturday, and I have to do some prep for that. Okay. All right, I would declare that agenda item completed and ready for the next one, which is Scott and I felt it was good to bring up the since we're always referring to the challenge, and I'm certain that David and Danielle are very well aware of this, although did you know that there's a wiki page called the 1% rule, and I'll bring it up here just to make it very visible to everyone.
I enjoyed rereading it, Drummond.
Yes. And I can say from my now over 30 years of working on open standards, open source projects, actually mostly open standards, for my part, that this rule is pretty accurate. And so, but when Scott and I were discussing preparing for this meeting, our feeling was, well, yeah, but with the steering committee, it shouldn't, we should have a more active set of our steering committee members should fall into, at least these first two slices. So we just wanted to bring that up for topic and see how folks felt about that. Scott, was there something else you wanted to share about the?
Yeah, well, I because this focuses mostly on content generation. And I think what we're using it for, and what I've read into it is, you've got 1% of probably trust over IP is a good example. I think you have 1% of people that are actively leading things, whether it's task forces or working groups, the steering committee, we probably have 1% of members doing that. And then we probably have 9% of trust over IP members that are active participants, ones that come and contribute. They're not leading, but they're adding their thoughts to specifications. They're attending meetings and offering suggestions, and they're active is the word. Okay. And then you've got 90% that are passive. And the conversation, and really what I wanted to bring up is that, we did a pretty wide swath of people that are in our steering committee. And what reason why we have 15 is those are the people that were at least in the active, category, the 9%. And that was the expectation when we formed the steering committee. And then the question comes down really to all the steering committee members. If you can't be an active member, then why are you on the steering committee? We, at the end of the day, Drummond and I, we don't want the lurkers. We don't want the 90% being part of the steering committee. That's they can be members and all that, but that's not a place. We need a robust, active, challenging, participative steering committee to function if we're going to be a viable organization. I mean, we don't have an executive director. That sometimes takes the pressure off a lot of people doing work. We don't. We all have to do the work. And the feedback that I've received is that, we have a very small number of people that are taking on the burden to keep trust over IP alive and functioning. And it's probably too much. And so as we look at, why you're part of trust over IP and what time that you can allocate to it, because we all understand this is voluntary. I did talk to, Carly, it's part of her grant actually that she's involved in trust over IP, which is great. We want more of those because then there's a business reason to actually be involved in such. Some of you out there are paid full time by an organization that supports the involvement in this and probably other standards organizations. So we like those too. We also have a lot of members, including myself, which, I do this. I'm not, I get paid for other things. I don't get paid for this. And so I, unfortunately, just like many others, have to do a triage around, would I do billable work or would I do trust over IP? And you can fill in the blanks around. Especially, so I'm not as stable, I go with I'm busy where the work goes. And I'm dealing with that, and everybody has their individual decisions. So this isn't a call out, we're not gonna start polling every single member on your commitment to trust over IP. But what it is, it's okay to say, look, I'm just, I have other things. I got billable work. I got things. And it's okay if kind of your circumstances have pushed you into the lurking category, that's okay. Maybe there are others that can fit the position within the steering committee. I'll give Mackie a great example. Here's a guy that's acting like a 9%er, and he's not a member of the steering committee. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. Anything now, Drummond? Anything else? And I would like to, now that we have active members as part of this meeting, I would like an active discussion about this.
There you go. I shared with Scott when we were talking to prep for this and put it on the agenda that as a rule of thumb, I found that you can't push the river. That the 1990 rule is it's an observation of what actually happens in communities, and obviously they vary a little bit. I did agree with him that, yeah, it makes sense. We obviously want the most active members. We want folks on the steering committee between, the 1% and the 9%. But that because we're all volunteer, what really has to move things forward is our own interests in moving things forward, in getting deliverables and outputs from Trust over IP. So I think those of us who are most active here are the ones who are, have the greatest need for those. And so if anything, I just want to, and we're about to go into that in the next set of topics, constantly say, hey, how can whatever your project, your interest, be better represented or acted on here at Trust over IP? We're going to talk about a new working group that I hope becomes, as large or active or more bigger or more active than any of our working groups, because we're hoping this market demand for it. But I think that applies to everyone here, so it's basically your opportunity to advance whatever that is, and we just we can't push the river in terms of what those opportunities or market drivers are. We can just try and channel them as best we can. And that's all I can add to the topic. Anyone else?
Yeah, so I think it's really a great point to raise in terms of, how progress would evolve over the next period. So, I think we started with the organizational plan a few months back, and we didn't follow on this exercise. But I think it's quite crucial to have certain objectives and key results to meet, so that everybody is at least aligned around, certain objectives. So, I had time, maybe a week or so back, included some comments in terms of certain areas like around the strengths and weaknesses, a couple of comments on that. So I think there's a lot to be changed. So I think a good starting point will be to look at our strategy and how things will cascade. At least, like if you have a vision and then, you will have a team working to support that, as opposed to going in many directions. So I think starting with that baseline, the organizational plan will be a good thing to do. Just a thought.
Very cool. Anyone else? Any other thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I had one thing to suggest, Drummond, and I agree with you. You're not going to convert everybody into an active contributor, and some people, and it's totally valid, some people who show up will lurk, but we want a bigger pie, and having that 1% or 9% or 10%, be from a bigger number. There are a number of ways that we can help you, raise the profile of what you're doing here and bring more people into it. I know I've offered before, but just again, to offer again, you know, if there's any way that we can help you engage with the broader community and really tap into the channels available to you at the, you know, LFTT, let me know. We can happy to put an engagement plan in place. And I know you've already done some things. You're working with Tomasz, for example, on the symposium, but I did put, if people are interested in some of the options to consider, I did put a link to a presentation that has, you know, different ideas that you know, might want to consider, you know, that could be used to bring more people in to, you know, and make this a bigger pie. So just if that's of interest, you know, we can talk more about that at some point. But if there's an interest in, you know, how do we help engage more people, you know, we're here to help.
That's super cool and appreciated, David. Thank you, by the way, for reaching out. I know to Scott and I, others in the Seattle area, on an event that is Friday. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
I hope that goes well.
I'm going to be going and giving folks an update on the topics we're about to talk about. So
Nice.
I'll push that part of the river.
Great. Great.
Nico, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
So I've actually had a it's not even a sapling, but more of a seed of an idea that I think could be something to summon resources about, or at least intellectual interest that would, and I'm not sure whether or not it warrants like a new group, a new working group, I don't even know how to start. So if I were wanted to actually, you know, vocalize this and explore what that looks like, what form should I do that in?
Well, let me just ask a question. Is it, if it has the potential of being something like a new working group or a task, if it's a task force
Right.
under an existing working group, then that working group is probably the place to bring it up. If it's a potential for a new working group, well, this is the place to bring it up with the steering committee, because that's where new working groups get approved. And
Right.
absolutely. So is it something you want to run by us quickly now, or you prepare something for the next meeting? What are you thinking?
Um, I could prepare something for next meeting. I could give you a rough overview now if you wish, but it's not necessarily succinct.
All
So
right,
I'd
give us a
rather.
teaser. Give us a teaser.
Okay, the idea is that essentially the way governance frameworks are currently set up is more of a recommendation rather than an actual something that's enforceable, right? And what I'm curious about and exploring right now is the ability to make ecosystem governance frameworks in particular um, programmatically enforceable.
Ah,
So,
so I have something that I wanted to share with you. So at our ecosystem and governance meeting on September the 18th, we'll
mhm,
be presented by a leader of an organization that has a proof of governance application,
that's fun.
which I think is going to be very interesting to address some of the topics that you have. So they do parsing of the effectiveness of policy and back down to how well, and I don't even know how they do it, maybe through AI. I think now they put in AI. How effective is it? And so I think that that may relate to what you're talking about, and there may be a governance effectiveness like task force that can be built out of that and things like that. So
Right, right. And I know for sure that we're going to have certain primitives coming out of the woodwork in the carry suite that would be essential, right, for these sort of features to complement things like AI, agentic delegation, and an appropriate, you know, right, scaffolding of relationships. So I'm doing my best to align that in the background, but thank you so much for that information, Scott. I really appreciate it.
And definitely, Nico, as you go to that meeting or pick up those things, if you you know, come up with a proposal for a working group. I mean, the steering committee is a perfect place. You could always raise it on the general list, but the steering committee is a perfect place to go over that. That's what we did with the as the decentralized trustcraft working group boiled up last spring, and that's one of our topics here today that we're going to be launching that. So
Awesome.
cool. Yeah, exactly. So the river is moving. All right, keeping the eye on time. It's already 2:30. Is there anyone else who wants to say anything else about the 1990 topic? Or should we move into our main topic for the day of symposium planning? Hearing no objection, let's do that. Now again, I'm a little behind the eight ball, and that I wasn't at the last two meetings, the June, July meetings. So I looked at the notes and talked with Scott, and I'm just first thing I'm just confirming that we've, even though IAW was moved to a week earlier, it's now the week immediately following the 15th, 16th. IAW is going to be the 21st through 23rd. So the symposium would be right before that. And which I think is fine. It sort of gets a bunch of things out on the table that we would then take into and probably have sessions at IW about. So that's good. But I'm just confirming, is that still the sense of the timing?
That's what we planned, yeah.
That's what we planned, but October is turned out to be very busy. So IW's move is, to me, very problematic. I maybe have to skip now. And also, this would be also very difficult. Very little chance of attending.
I see. Okay, because okay. Oh wow, that's too bad because
So, but
yeah,
if
go
it's
ahead.
a remote, we may be able to sort of like the problem with October, as I look at it, is that there are so many conferences or workshops happening in exactly the same time in same week, and um, so very hard to say. But we'll make every effort to, if that's the day, that I think that's okay. We'll make as much as possible to be able to. If it's remote, I think we may be able to work out okay for
Well,
myself.
yeah, it is going to be remote. Are you suggesting that we should maybe better off looking at something in November or early December? I don't know. I'm just asking because it is true that that the conferences are sort of piling up in October.
Correct. It so happened in those few weeks. Um, I, I wouldn't push for that since a lot of people already sort of mentally set on these days. That's okay.
Well, and the feedback I gave Drummond based on feedback I got from Carly is that, and I think that drove a little bit of the 1 to 10 to 90%, is that if we want to get this symposium done, it's going to take 1% to actually do it, and 99% kicking back and attending. And with that, is that fair? Do we want to do it? Does it make sense? I pushed a lot of it to Drummond because he's working on some, edge of the envelope type of activity within Trust over IP, which I thought he'd want to showcase for. Those are the active things that are happening, including yours. Wenjing, you've got some edge of the envelope things that are giving you a platform to advance in the marketplace. Is if that we can't have it in August because no one's around and we're not even having meetings here. This is a unique meeting in August. So
Yeah.
where do they pile up? They pile up in non-August timeframe. So if it's August, and we could we could wait till the winter because people don't travel and more apt to go to a online symposium. But question is that there's always going to be competing symposiums. There are organizations that make money just throwing out
Yeah.
conferences.
Yeah. May I suggest something? It's like I've been asking for a time schedule. So if there are 2 days, right, there will be I don't know, typical I know presentations, maybe half an hour or something. If we allocate those, then the answers will be easier because you can, black and white say, yes, I should be able to make that hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of what we're about to go over with some of the topic suggestions. But first, Eric, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes. What is the let's say optimal lead time in terms of promoting? Meaning that we haven't started promoting externally, but if are we looking at 4 weeks to say that that's enough time to start communicating and get enough of a attendance? Or are we talking 3 weeks or 2 weeks? Because we can push the date. If we say 3 weeks is optimal, then we can sort of wait to pull the trigger on the exact date. Almost a month before, if we're considering moving it.
Yeah, no, I know my reaction is that I think it's a little bit less that and a little bit more the commitment of the folks we're about to talk about that want to prepare talks and have them be current and vibrant, at the time that they're giving them.
Mhm.
I personally believe if we want to maximize, now I like the idea, and I've had this discussion directly with Carly and Scott about, and Eric about we had a meeting of the Ecosystem Governance Task Force to discuss the idea that the first day is a set of talks, 30 or 60-minute slots that each would be individually recorded, so that there's there's an attraction to be there to hear the talk live and be part of the Q&A for that talk. But all of them are being prepared to also then be chunks of content that we have out there that folks who are not able to attend in person can then go and make it their podcast topic
Yeah.
to listen into.
Mhm.
And I think that makes it more attractive for those folks that are preparing for those talks.
Mhm.
And it also makes it a little bit looser in terms of scheduling, because we fill up that day of we don't have to try and say what's the optimal for everything. We know it's going to be recorded.
Mhm.
Workshops, the idea of a second day of workshops that are more interactive, that's more, you have to have the attendance in person.
Yeah.
So if we follow that format, my sense is we want to provide at least a month of lead time. 6 weeks would even be better to announce the dates.
Right.
So we're probably getting close to that if we're going to aim for the original dates in October. Go ahead.
Mid-October. Right. Okay. But so I just was trying to understand from Wenjing. Wenjing, were you saying that it's just middle of October, no matter what we choose, is going to be difficult, or you'd like to have a time slot now so you can block it off in your calendar and work around that?
Yeah, so I think it's related to sort of the symposium, how we want to present this, right? If it's, let's say, like I was talking about hour block, then it will be a lot easier because I just need to block an hour
Right.
to present. For example, I think I was thinking about two topics. I think I will personally at least drive for it. That's 2 hours. I just need to pick 2 hours that can fit into the schedule. That will be sufficient to
Yeah.
make it work.
Yeah.
And
And that's
Wenjing,
relatively easy than say 2 days. That
Yeah.
would be very
Yeah. Of
difficult.
course. Yeah.
Wenjing, can I quickly ask you, I assume one of those topics is the one I've highlighted on the screen.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
is the other one talking about TSP, or what would the other topic be?
Yeah, so the other topic will be TSP.
Okay.
And
So I'm
we
going
have,
to add that.
yeah, feel
Uh,
free to. Yeah, so we have a new revision of TSP, and also we are seeing multiple adoptions related to people using TSP for other purposes. May not be directly related to AI, but those will be another topic. I think it's a really good one to have. And TSP, now we can dive deeper into sort of why reasons and why you would um, uh, choose TSP versus some of the alternatives. Those are the more nuanced topics. I think we can now address it here.
so I have a suggestion, just because this may turn around and affect our decision about timing. Let's take a second, because Scott and I talked about it, and basically pulling forward from also the meeting we had with Carly and the Ecosystem Governance Working Group, what you have listed here are what I would put forth are 6 hot current topics. Okay. And when Scott and I went through it, we made sure to list for each one, they have champions. They have folks that are going to drive the development of that content and, you know, rehearsed and be ready for that, provided that they have enough time. Okay. And let's just take a second to make sure all of us on the steering committee are on the same page about each of these topics. So Scott, C2PA, CAWG, you can't really speak to that one too much, right?
Well, I can't speak for Eric, but
I'm kidding you, of course.
since I, and a lot of the materials already, so it's not a burden for us.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's also something that, you know, you're actively out there, you know, things are happening in that space. So you would have,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I know it's
Check
pretty
my
hot
LinkedIn
topic.
post. You'll hear a major announcement today. So.
Oh, major, is it actually today? I heard you mention it yesterday and I thought I got to look for that today. So,
well, it was a pre-announce. It actually happens tomorrow, but that's okay.
oh,
It was
okay.
pre-announced, so I'm allowed to say it.
If you have a link you want to put in the chat, go ahead and do that. And I will add, yes, and Stephen and Eric. Okay, sorry, I just saw that from Stephen. Okay, so Wenji just talked about TSP adoption. I added myself as champion there because I think, you know, I know you guys get tired of hearing about this, but TSP is the keystone of our stack. It's always been. And I think finally, in addition to governance, we're going to have a hat, a hook to hang our hat on when it comes to what is the stack about. And I think when you start to see some of the stuff that, you know, Wenji would be showing there, I mean, don't wait until the symposium, you know, we'll have more information about that coming out, but it's pretty cool. And then of course, I don't need to tell anyone about that as a hot topic, right? We've got a new working group on that. We're collaborating with Diff. It's just, I mean, when I was in Silicon Valley 2 weeks ago, I couldn't, 95% of the friggin' billboards are AI, everything. Everyone knows that. So, and the trust issues are all over the place. So that's a hot topic. You're probably getting tired of hearing about first person, but what really there is the decentralized trust graph working group is we're going to talk about that starting up in September. And you know, there's some really interesting stuff, including what's going to be happening with Linux Foundation, the stuff we're working on there. I want to highlight on this one, when I mentioned the symposium to not just Hart, but in a call, I had another call with the Berkeley Professor Dr. Sanjay Garg that's leading that. And we were just talking about opportunities to, you know, get that work out there. I mentioned the symposium. He said, "Oh, we want to do a presentation about the ZKP there and show the code that." He said, as long as it was not until October, they would definitely have code that they'd want to show off there. Only a 30-minute slot, but they were like, yes, please put us on it. And then I don't have to tell anyone that, that this topic is one that Daryl and the folks at IRA, you know, they want to crow about. So I want to highlight, we have at least 6 topics, I'd say, except for this one, probably most of them are probably at least our topics. So we have a good, solid, chunky, I would say, you know, a bunch of headline things to get people to pay attention to the symposium when we're ready to do it. So let me stop for a second and say, what did I miss? Who here on the steering committee goes, well, you don't have my topic there yet? Anyone? Not that you have to commit to it right now. I'm just saying, is there anything that we clearly glossed over?
There's a few things I could propose, but I don't know if they're going to be public by the time that this event's going to be happening.
So that does get back to timing, doesn't
right.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I just want to ask the question, in some ways, I almost feel like I want to also cover this topic before we circle all the way back to timing. Because again, I think one of the key things that we'll have going, and we will have more meetings under our belt once we start it up in September, is the Decentralized Trust Graph Working Group. And again, that is not just a first person project. It is anyone that wants to work on the decentralized trust graph, because the whole idea is we are standardizing, just like we're standardizing, the TrustRP stack, we're standardizing the elements of a decentralized trust graph. So there is a lot of potential uses for that graph, which then adds up to, potentially a lot of interest. Wenjin, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess Nick, you may have something want to cover on carry or related work over there. That's another major work within a trust of IP we should highlight. And if again, uh, we're open to move time. Since IW moved, that week is open. That would be like, to me in a way, a ideal time for our symposium. So okay, anyway, just throw out some
Yeah, yeah.
idea.
Well, if we have something, I think it would be a great spot to feature it. And you know as well as I do how much this dovetails with TSP. So, and
Absolutely.
therefore as well the oh my goodness, the trust graph efforts Drummond is trying to do with the first person credentials.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's I think yeah, that would be great, and I could definitely pull in some experts in the field to drum up some attention. But again,
Yeah.
it just depends on time.
I was going to say if one thing was missing, that's what I was going to say that so far. Now, is it okay for me to
Yes,
put
please.
you as the champion for that?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wait, there is one more thing, and I think this might, if Carla was here, she'd probably bring it up. I don't know how Trust Over IP is going to be looking at this, but Glyph is actually featuring a huge VLAI hackathon in November and December. I don't know if maybe that's not a current, maybe it's not a large enough thing for a topic, but like I do think it is aligned with this general with trust over IP. So
So I you're exactly right. Were Carla here, I'm pretty sure she would say, yes, I want
yeah,
at least a half an hour speaking slot. And I would say, since a lot of folks know that Glyph is working with Trust RP and carrying our technologies here, yes. So now we're up to, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, we've already got, yeah, there may be one or two other topics. We have a great slate of things. And that brings me back now to say, okay, the only thing in my mind that we need is sufficient time. But before I jump into that, I see that Karen just raised her hand. So go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, because actually, I'm currently working on the hackathon for the Hong Kong side. Actually, we are actually the organizer for the Hong Kong side hackathon. And I'm very interested in what Nicholas has just said about the Carry Foundation, because Carry is actually a very good part and actually something that is going on in the field for trust over IP. And I think that it would be a good topic for the symposium as well. So if there's anything, Nicholas, you have been think about, I can work with you on this topic as well.
yeah. Feel free to contact me or email me, and we can coordinate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's
I
exactly
I'm
why
a
we have these
I'm a
meetings.
judge in the New York hackathon myself, so we're
Oh,
we're
that's
working
great.
toward we're working toward the same goal. So
Yeah, because for the Asia side, Hong Kong would be the place, and we have fixed the date to be the 7th of November. And we
Mhm.
are currently asking for proposals and asking for
Mhm.
judges and everything like that.
Mhm.
7th of November will be Hong Kong side for the Asia.
Yeah. I'm literally flying directly from my honeymoon to be on the judges panel. So
Oh,
Whoa,
really?
Wow.
that's dedication.
The one percenter, look at that. He's for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be
Earns his
very
chops there.
tan. And so
Cool. All right, Eric, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, not to take this topic too long, but to differentiate between day one and day two, would a topic like Glyph hackathon want to look at a day 2 workshop where they actually spend time with people, prepping them for the hackathon, or helping them get a little bit deeper into the code before the hackathon? Just trying to understand how we're going to differentiate day 1 and day 2.
That could be a great idea. I think it would be a matter of getting Kent Bull or Kevin Griffin on to man that. They would be the technical resources I think necessary, but I think that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, though at that point, it's like at that point the submission's already there, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what if day 1 again, how are we differentiating day 1 presentations versus day
Right.
2 workshops? And
Mhm.
and not just for this not just for Glyph, but for all of the topics.
Yeah.
And maybe day 1 topics may think about having day 2 workshops as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think in certain cases, I'm wondering whether a TSP hands-on workshop is something, but that's also more time from either Wenjing or other contributors to that project. Um, let's see what other folks want to suggest, but Makat, you have your hand up.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to mention in terms of the overall strategy for the 2 days. So in the ecosystem governance working group months back, we were planning, and a number of ideas was shared. Amongst them, what I at least shared was having setting the tone for what's coming next in terms of what's our mission and what our working groups do, and then a little bit of details about what's coming next. So then the meetings start for the respective areas, C2P and COG, and one by one. So I think just having a strategy document, I can volunteer and build that for day 1.
For day 1, okay. So what would you call the topic then?
Yeah, it's just the overview of trust over IP, trust over IP, overview and an agenda.
We had talked about not just jumping into topic 1, but
yeah,
doing,
no, exactly.
Yeah, we need to have talk from the top.
Yeah.
Okay, I strongly agree. So we're going to put Make and Eric.
yeah, we're working on that. Yeah.
I will also volunteer to help with that because I just want to make sure I can help tie in the working groups that I'm part of into that. So fantastic. You see, I think the funny thing is we're going to put out these forums to get submissions, and I still think we should to find out what other Trust Group members want to do. But we get pretty close to a full day's worth of material right in front of us, and champions for everyone. So that's what matters.
Yeah, but for we need to validate that we have enough for day 2.
Yeah, that is a good point. And who actually wants to do interactive workshops? So
do we have a format for the workshops? If I understand, this is more like hackathon kind of a thing, then these dates really won't work. For that kind of a event that will be longer and need to be hands-on, kind of in a live system, that sort of thing would require more elaborate setup.
and that's that's why I put here if for instance one of those you want to do about TSP and Trust TAS, and there's another one I can put on there which but I'm going to do this and explain and then turn around. I'm going to say LF kernel and first person credentials. Okay, that's a topic that I think we could have. And I even know who in the first person project might be willing to work on that, but they're going to say, hey, that's too early. It'll be much better to do something in November, early December. If you want to have a real workshop on that topic, just because they need more time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if like I would suggest if there's a workshop, we want to, really double check each one of them and what the ideal time may be, and maybe pick something. These 2 days don't have to be consecutive, do they?
Uh,
So far.
well, not necessarily. However, if we want sort of maximum bang for the buck in terms of publicizing it, I would put them side by side. I'd rather. I mean, my own feedback is if what we want is sort of maximum effect in the market, then let's work backwards from what do we have to present and have workshops on that will do that. When will they be ready? And because otherwise, I don't personally see a need to have to do this thing. I think we're absolutely want to do it this fall. This is our 5th anniversary year, but it doesn't have to be, unless, but that's just one person's view. Any other views as to whether it should be earlier than later?
I think part of the initial date choice was to push people to get things ready before IIW, to use this as a test run for IIW. So we could look at it the other way around and say if people are, looking to present things at IIW, then they'll definitely have it prepared and ready for this if we move this after IIW. But that, just for the broader audience, that was one of the reasons we chose
I see.
the date.
Yeah, my own reaction to that is with IW moving a week earlier, it actually becomes problematic because that week
Yeah.
before IW is crazy. It's
So-
always crazy.
So if we would consider afterwards, would that make it more acceptable to people?
Definitely from my perspective. Although I wouldn't do it right after, I'd provide a little room. That's why I'm thinking.
course.
Then,
We'd have
you
go ahead.
some kind of November, away from the holidays, I think that would be probably.
Early
Yeah.
November?
Yeah, that's what my instinct would be right now. Do we have
Yeah.
any sense? I don't know if um, Danielle or David have any sense of the calendar and what what other events we're trying to avoid.
I just pulled it up. Hold on.
Fantastic.
David had to drop. Singapore FinTech Festival is the week of November 12th. Hong Kong FinTech Week is November 3rd, but that shouldn't be an issue. That's all I see. Dev Connect should not be an issue. It's in Buenos Aires.
What about the week of the 17th?
The week of the 17th in November?
Yeah. The reason I bring it up
Yeah.
is it is the week before Thanksgiving, so folks
Mhm.
tend not to do as much travel. So a virtual
Mhm.
event that week, and it's still, a week before. If we did it, midweek, it's well before Thanksgiving.
I don't have all the, I don't have all the identity events in this calendar, but the major ones are here and there's no conflict that I
Yeah.
see.
Okay. It's nice. So I just quickly checking with folks here on the call. How would that week, we'd be talking, I guess, 19th, 20th, if we were doing Wednesday, Thursday? November
November.
19th, 20th. Yeah. I'm doing a quick calendar check myself. Not that there would be anything there. No. Oh, interesting. We have a steering committee meeting on the 19th. Well, we would work around that. Yeah, and Steve McCown makes a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That yeah, trying to do something I found on either side of IAW is problematic for both reasons, right?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
crazy right
Remind-
before, and everyone's
Remind us what are the dates of IIW again?
it's got moved to a week earlier, so it is October. Wait a minute, I think I might have I found out
20th?
with one calendar I was using was wrong. It is
October 20th.
15th, 21 and 21 through 23. Yeah,
Exactly.
I do
Yeah.
have the right dates on the calendar.
All right, so that's yeah. Then 1 week after, 2 weeks after is 3 to 6. 3 weeks after is the 10 to the 14th. I would say the 10 to 14, or I mean, I don't know how that affects the Thanksgiving crowd, but yeah,
Well,
10.
The reason I'm
10
suggesting 19th to 20th is it's still a week before Thanksgiving, but it's close enough that there'll be less travel.
Yeah.
Because when people are on the road, it's hard to attend a virtual event.
Right.
Well, and it gives us a little breathing room to get this thing more
Right.
crystal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and what I agree, and I also think that if we have, if we're essentially, we want to, of course, circle around with folks that are not here, but if we have a set of champions for these topics, then we have a strong sword to go to the membership and say, hey, guess what? We've figured dates. We have a set of topics with champions already. Who else wants to? That's how you get the party going, right? Here's the guests that are already, coming. And it gives us enough time to line up the PR. Now oh, wow, this meeting is flying by. I always think, do we really need 90 minutes for these meetings? I guess we do. The other thing, again, I think our last, we have an additional, actually, I'm going to move this up because that's before any other business. I want to make sure we talk about the launch of the Decentralized Trust Graph Working Group as well. But my point was going to be that will also give that working group longer to get up to speed and then be ready to provide contributions into these two topics, in the symposium. So, yeah. And Steve, I'm just reading the chat. Yeah. Okay. So, should we, Carly is of course not here. We'll circle back. Scott and I will circle back with her, but should we say our new proposed dates are the 19th, 20th of November?
Yep.
Those dates. Okay. 19/20. As I took the action item from Carly, and I'm checking with you, Eric and Scott, there is a ecosystem governance working group meeting tomorrow where we would again, is there another topic, or she said this was the symposium planning was still the topic for that meeting? Is that comport with your understanding?
It is.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So what we'll do is clear action item. Three of us will take that into that meeting and discuss at GW meeting. Okay. Super cool. I think we're really cooking with gas on that. We do need to figure out the rest of the workshops. All right. Well, I want to quickly talk about launch of the Decentralized Trust Graph Working Group. You're probably getting tired of hearing about this. It's, I think, might be the longest period between approval of a working group and actually spinning it up. But when we approved it back in May, I personally knew I was going to be tied up a good part of the summer, and we weren't really going to be in a position to put a bunch of energy into launching it until September. And that is still the plan. And I'll put in the chat, there's a version of the white paper that we've just finished. It's just in internal review, our internal private review round, what we're calling it. Some of you, I think most of you have a review copy. I just started sending them out yesterday, but if not, here is the that's it. There is the link to the review copy for Trust ToIP and DIF folks. I say that because I've shared that copy with Kim Duffy to say, hey, we've been talking to you about this for quite a while, but does DIF want to be, a joint participant in the working group? And I know she got it. She thanked me for finally having sort of the enough information. Now, that's a first person project white paper, but there's a whole section in it about the fact that we're, going to be building on top of the outputs from that new working group. And I also did I guess it was last week, a week from last Tuesday, presentation to the W3C Credentials Community Group with a similar invitation. They haven't followed up in any explicit way, so I don't know if they want to be involved. I think there's only been one joint participation working group that also involved them, but anyway, the invitation's out there. So and all I can say is the things we're going to be doing with the first person project, we're going to be shouting to the world, hey, this is where that work is going to be going on. And there is we'd be happy to present about Scott and Eric know about the tie-in between first person credentials and the wallet management and digital signatures for content credentials with COG and identity hooks, hot new topic there. And then obviously the tie-in to AI and human trust. So I guess I'm just running by, I think the general, Daniela, when we launch a new working group, it's pretty much a matter of putting out, hey, this working group is starting up. Here's going to be the initial meeting. We're going to decide on things like, the schedule. We already have, of course, the charter, IPR, all that stuff. So a question for you is just simply, is it a matter of just establishing a first meeting time, the first week of September, and putting the word out there?
I believe so, yeah. And we can just pick the date that you want. We'll set up a meeting stub just for one, and then do the reoccurring once you figure out what you want to do. Happy to, if you want to put out a blog post on the LFDT blog, we could do it that way as well. Invite people to come.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. Blog post.
And then promote it on the channels.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got a really, again, anyone who is interested in providing feedback on the first person project white paper, we plan to release that the first week of September. I think I would like to do the meeting later in the week so that we get it out there and left. In fact, there's no reason we have to push for that first week, and I'm worried about how crowded that week's going to get with everyone coming back. Maybe we should do the first meeting the second week and give people enough notice, that it's that it's coming, because that white paper is going to be coming out, released on that first week, probably Wednesday, I'm thinking. So we could schedule the second week. I'll work with you. We'll figure out what will be a good time for that first meeting.
Let me know. And I'm just rereading all the onboarding stuff from Trust Over IP. If there's anything different, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I think it's everything should be standard, plain vanilla JDF. That's our stuff. Scott, I just noticed your hand is up because it's almost exactly the same color as your background there. It's hard to see. Go ahead.
So a couple of things, we look at a new working group as a means to either engage existing members, but here I'm looking to engage, new members to Trust Over IP. Getting more of those people that are 9%ers or 1%ers. And so how do we schedule or coordinate or, do this launch? The nature of the decentralized trust graph will involve, critical mass of individuals, which may allow for this to be, a working group to attract members to Trust Over IP and get more lifeblood into it. And so I guess my question to you is, how can we engage and use, from a steering committee standpoint, the launch of this working group as a means of revitalizing or adding new blood or whatever I just said, around, participation and add to Trust Over IP as an organization?
I just want to say 100%. It is. I hinted at this at the start of the meeting. I'm going to put out there. Rose. I even wore my rose-colored shirt here to emphasize my rose-colored glasses on this topic. Okay, I'm way too close to it to be totally objective. On the other hand, I can turn around and say, for instance, there are now we just passed 175 people on the first person project mailing list, right? We're going to make sure all 175 of those find out, hey, this working group is starting and you want to join Trust OIP to be part of it. Now, I'm not saying we're going to have 175 members, but there are a number of folks on that are waiting for that. And I've already asked, and Danielle has clarified for me, yep, here's the paths. We're going to put in links to make sure they can join. And we hope it actually brings some new members, corporate members into LFDT, right? So yeah, totally plus one. I personally think this is one of the very exciting things we can be working on. It's one of the places where, as Wenjing knows, I think it's going to get a whole lot of people to understand, oh, this is what you're doing with the Trust RP stack. This is why we want TSP. This is why we're going to be working on these trust tasks. This is why we need this governance. There's with first person, we're talking about a giant certification program, right? This is finally how we get Scott his lifetime, workload. So anyway, I'm all in. We'll see how others think about that. And we, of course, we want to turn this into, and by the way, we also want to deliver something really important for the Linux Foundation and for the open source projects there. So that's a reason some of those folks might be interested. Go ahead, Eric.
Would we want to target the graph community? Meaning, the Neo4js, the people working in sort of graph databases and things like that?
Yes. Interestingly enough, two projects that are graph based are essentially already working on it. They're both associated with, tied into efforts with the first person project. One is called NextGraph, which is received significant funding from the EU for an RDF based graph, which basically you could say personal data store or wallet/agent on steroids, either way we put that. And the other one is called TinyCloud. But both are graph databases that are just basically being engineered from that point up to be call it wallet agents, agent wallets, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think the graph community will be interested, although the decentralized trust graph is very heavy on trust and very light on graph, as in it's not technically that complicated. Getting into navigating that and building agents and things that can work across trust permissions to do powerful things, that gets the computer scientists all hot and bothered. But I don't know how much it will necessarily grab the hardcore graph database folks. They might just go, well, yeah, of course you want to use a graph.
Right. So not knowing enough about the working group or the task, is it a task force or working group?
It is a working group because it will have a set of task forces. That's one of the things that we'll be proposing, or discussing at the first meeting.
Okay. So, yeah, not knowing enough yet about that working group, but knowing a little bit about Neo4j, and they peg themselves as the biggest graph community. They've got a thing called Nodes 2025, and so just it might be good to connect with those communities.
Yeah, that makes sense. Since I have it right here, I will just I realized it's in a different window, so I need to I'll stop sharing and share this other window just for a second. So I still want to leave time for our last topic, but I think it's this one right here. In the draft white paper that I put the link, first person white paper that I put in the link there, we have a section here on the decentralized trust graph working group right here, and I include the charter. And this is a simple, sort of going in proposal of the first 4 task forces that would be part of that.
Okay.
credentials, R cards, trust task protocols, and the UX. And of course, we're wide open for whatever the working group members decide. But this is what I've been discussing with folks, and yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty meaty, pretty exciting. Certainly, if we're able to get them to the table and interest them in, being part of that, I think it's certainly going to be good for their respective businesses. So
Yeah, I think they're not in so much on identity yet, but are interested in learning.
So I did see that your initial charter said that it would be a joint development project with DIF. We can't really say that if we don't really have that in place.
yeah, no, exactly, which is why again, I've started talking with Kim about it, I think in April of last year, and but there needed to be a clear enough, not just charter, but sort of description where we were going, and that's there now. So I will be following up with Kim in this next week to see if DIF and Steve, you're here. I told her I'd be very happy to do a briefing for the DIF steering committee if she wants to do that. So you now have that invitation too.
Cool, I'll talk to her. Thank you.
Cool.
And do we, Drummond, do we have a clear understanding on our side, maybe for Daniela as well, what, kind of paperwork, for example, we would need to do in order to make that official?
Daniela has sent me that information. So she is totally done her part of it. However, I think it arrived when I was on my travels, so I'm not sure. But Daniela, it was pretty straightforward what you said. What I think you said we need to do. If for instance DIF says yes, let's do this.
We've already had the established format that we did last time, so.
Excellent.
And if people want to join, even from Trust over IP, do they have to sign up for that working group and sign any legal paper to extend rights to that working group?
We'll add the new working group to the Trust over IP contributor document.
And does that get grandfathered in from all members that have signed them?
Yeah, that's the way it works under JDF 5. That was the big one of the key changes. I mean, I'm correct, right, Daniela?
That is my understanding as well.
Yeah.
But we'll double check with Jory.
Okay.
I actually, my understanding, Wenjing, was that was also going to be the situation with AI and human trust, some collaboration with DIF. Have you followed up with that? Is that agreement going to be there?
So we are at a stage where the final clear decision from DIF, it's not there yet. So whenever that comes, just want to check to know, like, hey, we have a known procedure to go follow through. But we're waiting for that to be formalized if they wish to pursue that way.
Cool. I actually, I'll when Danielle and I connect with Kim one way or another over the next week. I'll actually follow up with her right after this.
Yeah,
I think
if you have a chance to talk to her, bring this topic up as well. Whether they are moving forward or holding on for now.
And the reason I think that's important is I think there is we all know how much synergy there is, between what we're doing with the decentralized trust graph and AI agents, especially personal AI agents. So, like in the blog post, I would reference something like that if that's going to be if it's just the Trust RP group, which already exists, then I'll reference that. But if it's a joint participation group, then we can say that. So, yeah, got it. All right. Unless there's anything else, I want to make sure we have 10 minutes left to get to this last topic, which I am assuming, Nico, is that you?
I actually
That was for me. That was for me. So
Okay.
Oh, it's for you. I'm sorry.
The steering committee gave me an action item maybe 2 months back to reach out to the Carey Foundation and have and invite them to join LF Decentralized Trust as an associate member. And they have decided that they will, and we're just going back and forth with some questions. So I just wanted to give the steering committee an update that I do as I'm told. No, I actually had a great conversation with Hank. So thanks to the steering committee for recommending it.
Yeah, Hank's a sweetheart, so I'm not surprised.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that'd be super. He's also done, a lot of folks don't know this, but he has underwritten personally work on the spec up T, the terminology, powered stuff. And I mean, for literally, I think it's going on 18 months now. And it's really turned into a quite amazing tool. So yeah, he's great. Super. Danielle, is there anything else that you have? Okay. And then well, we're down to the any other business. And I know Wenjing's eager to get back on the kayak. I hope he's getting some kayaking there. Anything else anyone wants to bring up? Scott, was there anything we missed?
I think it was a very robust meeting, filled with insights and cooperation and collaboration. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm really, really jazzed about this set of topics. And I think we're going to get, back into September swinging. And we want to show Daniela that we are the most active and productive of all of her projects in LFDT. That's our goal.
Yes. I'll hold you to it, Drummond.
All right. Okay. We'll take the ball. All right. Well, if that's the case, Scott, I would say we can give people back a whole 8 minutes to get in their kayaks.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to go right now. Kayak.
There you go.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.
Enjoy the rest of
Bye-bye.
August. You bet. We'll see you
You
soon.
too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye all.